Dear students, this is Mr. Mnyandu. I hope that you are all well and I hope that you are keeping safe. I hope that you are adhering to the government's regulations insofar as COVID-19 is concerned. I am recording this video because I wanted to give you some feedback based on your first assessment. This feedback is not meant to be comprehensive. I am simply responding to the majority of mistakes that I saw in the answers that were provided. So let's begin. Question 1.1. Advise Asa Boulder and Onsets on whether they can be said to be accountable for their actions. Now, most of you understood that accountability hinges on two questions. Does the person have the mental capacity to distinguish between right and wrong and appreciate the difference? The second question is, does the person have sufficient maturity to act in accordance with the appreciation that we identified in question 1? Both questions need to be answered in the affirmative. Okay, let's start with question 1, mental capacity. What do we mean by mental capacity? By mental capacity, we mean the knowledge and appreciation of what is right and wrong. Simply knowledge and appreciation of what is right and wrong. Adults know what is right and wrong. Asa Boulder and Onsets are adults. That's the first issue that I want to raise with you. Okay, so based on this and the fact that they have driving licenses, in terms of driving licenses, you would expect that they would be in a position to identify that driving under the influence of drugs and drag racing is wrong. Okay, so that's the first thing. But then some of you said they did not have mental capacity because they were drunk. Now, just because somebody is drunk does not mean that they don't have mental capacity. In S versus Crichton, the courts recognized the different poles of being drunk. It said that one person may be very drunk and may still be able to conduct themselves in a rational manner. And then it said another person may be dead drunk and that person may be unable to know what they are doing. Now, as you can see, that different poles. The one is dead drunk, unable to know what they're doing, and they're just moving about involuntary. And the other one is very drunk, but they're still conducting themselves in a rational manner. Now, can you safely say that in the circumstances of the facts that I gave you, that Asa Boulder and Onsets were dead drunk and unable to know what they're doing? No, you can't safely say that. 1, they had driving licenses. 2, they were adults. 3, the defense of intoxication will not suffice because they were not dead drunk. The fact that in their mind, or it's crossed their mind that they said they believed that they won't hit children, should tell you that they believed that hitting children would be wrong and they believed that drag racing and being under the influence is wrong. But they believe that they won't hit children. Some of you have seen movies. If you don't drink, some of you have seen movies. You would know that what alcohol does to a person and what drugs do to a person. They give them confidence. Alcohol can make you attack somebody who's 3 or 4 times your size because of this confidence. So here, alcohol just gave them confidence. They still knew what they're doing is wrong, but it just gave them confidence. Now, with the second question, do they have sufficient maturity to act with that appreciation? The answer again is yes. They do have sufficient maturity to act in accordance with their appreciation because they had driving license. They have been through the motion of driving and they have exhibited the maturity. Okay, maturity speaks about one's ability to control his or her impulsiveness. So children who are below 7 don't have sufficient maturity, right? Because they are unable to control the impulsiveness of just racing through or running through the road. They don't have that maturity to be able to control their impulsiveness. So in this question, Yes, Asa, Boulder, and Onset have the sufficient maturity to act in accordance with their appreciation. So yeah, that's your answer to question one. I'll be recording another video to discuss question two. But perhaps before I go, the fact that in the SCA, in the Jub Jub case, which is the one we're dealing with here, the facts are similar. The fact that in the SCA they were found to be liable for culpable homicide, which is negligent killing, should tell you that these who have sufficient mental capacity and they have sufficient maturity to act in accordance with their appreciation, because they can't be found to be negligent if they are not accountable. So that on its own should tell you that they have sufficient maturity and sufficient mental capacity. So I'll record another video and I will discuss question 1.2.